Hey there, folks. Brian here, your honest mechanic. Today, we're discussing a topic that might seem simple, but can go sideways real quick if you're not careful. Oil changes. Now, I've been elbow deep in engines for over 15 years, and let me tell you, I've seen some doozies when it comes to oil change blunders. So buckle up, and let's talk about the oil change mistakes you absolutely need to avoid. Before we get started, please press the like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel. Alright, let's kick things off with the cardinal sin of car maintenance, skipping oil changes. Look, I get it, life gets busy, and before you know it, you're way past that oil change interval. We've all been there. But here's the deal, your engine is like a temperamental chef. It needs fresh, clean oil to cook up those miles, or it's gonna throw a fit. Now, here's where I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. You might hear folks, or even your car's manual, telling you that you can go 7,500 or even 10,000 miles between oil changes. But let me tell you, after 15 years of seeing what actually happens inside engines, I still swear by the 3,500 to 5,000 mile rule. Yeah, I know, the manufacturers say otherwise. But remember, they're in the business of selling cars, not necessarily keeping them running for decades. In my professional opinion, more frequent oil changes are cheap insurance for your engine's longevity. It's a hill I'm willing to die on, folks. Speaking of drain plugs, let's talk about Hercules syndrome. You know, when someone tightens that drain plug like they're trying to seal off Fort Knox? Look, it doesn't need to be tournament tight. Over-tightening can strip the threads on your oil pan, and then you're looking at a much bigger and more expensive problem. Use a socket wrench or torque wrench if you've got one, or just snug it up until it stops. Then give it about a quarter turn more. And for the love of all things holy, don't forget to put the drain plug back in before you start refilling. Ask me how I know. Now, this one's a bit controversial, but hear me out. Changing oil when the engine's stone cold isn't ideal. Cold oil is thicker and doesn't drain as well, meaning you might leave some of that old gunky oil in the engine. But you don't want it blazing hot either. That's a good way to get some nasty burns. The sweet spot? Let the engine run for 3 to 5 minutes before you start. This warms up the oil just enough to flow better, but not so much that you'll be playing hot potato with the drain plug. Here's a rookie mistake I see way too often. Changing the oil but leaving the old filter in place. That's like taking a shower and putting on dirty underwear. What's the point? The oil filter catches all the gunk and debris that can wreck your engine. If you don't change it, you're just pumping clean oil through a dirty filter. And while we're at it, make sure you're using the right filter for your car. Don't just grab whatever's on sale at the auto parts store. A cheap, low-quality filter is about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. Alright, here's where things get a bit Goldilocks. You want the oil level to be juice right. Overfilling isn't just wasting oil, it can cause some serious problems. Too much oil can get whipped up by the crankshaft, turning it into a frothy mess that can't lubricate worth a damn. It can also increase oil pressure, leading to leaks or even engine damage. On the flip side, not putting in enough oil? That's like trying to run a marathon without water. Your engine parts will be rubbing together like they're at a middle school dance, and that's a recipe for disaster. Always check the dipstick after an oil change and make sure the levels between the minimum and maximum marks. Here's a pro tip that'll save you some headaches. Before you install that new oil filter, fill it about 2/3 full with fresh oil. This primes the filter and helps get oil circulating through your engine faster on startup. It's especially important for engines with high-mounted filters. Just make sure you don't spill oil all over the place when you're screwing it in. And speaking of screwing it in, hand tight is usually enough. You don't need to get the filter wrench involved unless you've got gorilla arms. Alright, last but not least, we've got the any oil will do mentality. Spoiler alert, it won't. Your car's engine is designed for a specific type and weight of oil. Using the wrong stuff is like trying to lubricate your engine with maple syrup. It might smell nice, but it's not gonna end well. Check your owner's manual for the right viscosity grade. It'll look something like 5W30 or 10W40. And pay attention to whether it calls for conventional synthetic blend or full synthetic oil. Using the wrong type can mess with your fuel economy, engine performance, and in some cases even void your warranty. Don't be that guy.